It's like a weird thing to do a video on, but okay, I got to do it because I feel like I'm confusing people, and it's my fault because I wasn't clear. First of all, I realized how great the ne'er do wells like me who have found me and somehow think I'm amusing or something. How great these people are. I put up a picture on my community timeline last night of my father, and I've done impressions of my father over and over because my dad was worth it. My dad, he first of all, I'll explain a little bit more about him, but he passed away in about a year and a half ago or something like that. Time just sucks, goes right out of you. Like you just lose all sense of time when something weird happens. It was more, he was older. He had a little onset like dementia starting. He had Parkinson's. It wasn't something I didn't foresee happening, but it's never easy. He fell, he broke a hip. He didn't recover from that, and he died in the hospital. And my mom died a year later through a whole different set of circumstances. That was the one that kind of fucked me up. And it was unforeseen, whatever. But I put it up in my community timeline, the a picture of him, and I think a lot of you think that he died like yesterday. No, he did not. It's been like a year and a half since my father passed. I was just thinking about him, and it was around that time, or getting to be around that time that he passed, and I just decided to put him up there because I talked about him a lot, and I don't want to confuse anybody else. Is this making any fucking sense? I'm barely awake. I don't want to make anybody else think that I'm talking about somebody who's present or there. And I've talked, if you go on a Sexy Monkeys channel, and I know I'm pimping his channel out a lot, and I do it with other people that are worth it, but I told a series of stories about him, and I think the video, and maybe he can link it because I still don't know how, was called I felt Little Asshole Kids or something like that, because that's what my father called me and my friends. He would always say that. He's like, oh, where's Jason? He's hanging out with the little asshole kids, because those are the only people who hang out with him because he's a little fucking asshole. I don't know why. Don't you give me the finger. I'm going to catch you and beat your little ass. I swear to God. He talked just like that. I'm not even kidding. Like, he was like if Ricky Ricardo got hit on the head with a shovel. Like, he had that kind of dialect. My dad actually, in his younger years, looked a lot like that Pacino guy. Al Pacino. He looked a lot like him. It was disturbing. My dad, everybody thought he was Italian. He was not Italian. My dad was fucking Mexican as they come, okay? He was Mexican. He was Mexican. But my dad didn't like Mexicans. My dad didn't like anybody. My dad was racist against every race you could think of. For years and years, I didn't know. Well, I knew my dad was Mexican, but he would always talk shit about them. So I didn't get it. He'd be like, oh, that's what you get. Look, there's another fucking Mexican on the news robbing somebody at the switchblade point. Oh, I thought only Puerto Ricans did that. Fucking bean pickers, go home. Go home. And I would look at him. I feel like it was something all in the family. I'm like, aren't you Mexican? He's like, I'm not like one of them. I did not swim over here. I didn't float, okay? I was born in Texas. I'm a Texan. You shut up. Don't ask me questions. So, and my mom would always get on him. I have to say, my mom never said one racist thing about anybody ever. She's like one of those moms that was perfectly, never said a racist, derogatory thing about anybody. If I even started to, she would give me the evil eye and I was grounded. Like I try to get her to say the N-word. I'm not going to lie. I'm like, say it. I would write it down. Be like, what does that say? I can't read it. Just to see if she would do it. She went, my mom, you couldn't get her to do it. My dad, oh, Lord. Every ethnic slur you can think of for every group of people you can think of, my dad would use, but he didn't think it was bad. I mean, white people, black people, Hispanic people. I'm not even going to do what he said about Asians. I'm not going to tell you that. He had a special aversion for sometimes the Jewish race. I mean, he would say things, but he would never act on it. Like, he wasn't a racist person. He wouldn't, like, if somebody black lived by us or something like that, he'd have like, oh, hey, colored guy, I hate you. It wasn't like that. It was whoever he was mad at in the moment is what he would call them. And he had these stereotypical ideas like, the reason why it's like this guy, I know he's a Jewish, is because he's on a TV, and everybody knows they like to own TV stations and go, we all know it's true. No, it's not. I'm not lying. My mom would start, yelling at me, like, hey, seriously, stop doing that. No, well, you know what the Jews like? Money, 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 money. I think a Jew wrote that song. But my dad, he came from Texas or whatever, and everybody thought he was Italian, and he never corrected them. Okay? Never, ever corrected them. All my life, and I think I told the story on Monkey's channel, my last name has a ch in it sound, but it's actually pronounced Cia, like Garcia or something like that. But people always call me Mr. Like, it would be like calling me Mr. Garcia. And I had a teacher that for 8 years would call me Mr. Garcia. I'm like, what? Does she fucking have a speech problem? That's not my fucking name. Like, I know I don't match up and everything because, like, I'm all adopted and shit, but the the fuck is her problem? She thought I was an Italian. She thought I was one of those fucking dagos. Now, she thought I was one of those guys. And I'm like, I guess that's okay that she thinks that. But I would tell my dad, and he wouldn't even correct me. Other people would always like refer to my dad. Your mom, is she still married to that Italian guy? And I would think my mom was like hoeing around before or something like that. When did she marry some Italian guy? Oh, you mean my dad who pretends he is and he doesn't? And another reason why I thought he was Italian, about his Spanish thing, he pretended he didn't speak Spanish. I shit you not. I used to grow up, I wanted to learn different languages. I'd be like, hey, teach me some Spanish or something like that. I don't know any fucking Spanish. I'm an American. Proud to be an American. Well, at least I know I'm free. And no other English speaks will come after me. I don't trust them. I don't want to live near them. But he would be like, he would say he didn't. So my best friend forever, one day, kind of challenged me in a way. He's like, I think, why don't you just admit your dad's Italian? Like, he's a fucking Italian. I know he acts Italian. He walks around with a fucking toothpick in his mouth. I think he thinks he's in Sopranos or something like that. He's not fucking Italian. He's not. I'm like, he even speaks Spanish. He goes, your dad doesn't speak Spanish. I've known you for like 12 years. I've never heard your dad speak Spanish. And this guy was Puerto Rican. I was like, okay, throw him off guard. Go say something to him in Spanish. He'll answer you. I guarantee you. If you said it real fast, he would start speaking Spanish. So they started hobbling it up. I don't know Spanish. But my friend said something like, blah, 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 and my dad's like, fuck. And I'd be like, and my friend was like, why didn't you ever teach him Spanish? He's like, what do you think he would do with the English? Look how bad he's there. He knows every horrible word in English. Spanish? No. So he can curse me out in 2 languages and I have to chase him again with a 2x4? I'm going to catch you next time. My dad, I love my dad, obviously. He didn't understand me at all. It was always weird being alone with my dad, like we're driving somewhere, because I never knew. I could talk to my mom pretty much about anything. I never knew what to say to my dad, because I think my dad thought I was a fucking Martian or the devil himself. The only things I ever consistently heard from my dad was like, I don't know what's wrong with you and why you do that shit. What the fuck is wrong with you? You're fucking a thinker once in a while. Who thinks of such a horrible things to do? You're 9 years old. This is terrible. I cannot. He would always say shit like that. But the other thing he would always be like is he would look at me and my mom when he didn't understand something. Say he said something to my dad like, you're one to really talk. You know what I mean? Or something like that. He would look at you and instead of saying, I don't get you, my dad would say this, you are a question mark. Why not an exclamation point? What the fuck are you talking about? I would tell my dad certain things, and my dad would not understand me. He used to make fun of everything I listened to. Back in the day, I used to listen to Nirvana and a couple other things, and there was always one song I listened to, I think it was by Uncle Cracker, God, that's how old I am, called Follow Me. And once in a while, I'd turn the radio on in the car, and he hated anything I listened to. And I remember there was one lyric with like, follow me, and swim through my veins like a fish in the sea. I'm singing. And every time that song played, my dad would just sit, he'd be driving, and he'd be like, that's the dumbest line of a song I've ever heard. Swimming through a veins like a fishy fish in the sea. What kind of bullshit is that? The best bands ever were like the Beatles and some opera singers, but no, you listen to the down and out people with the grungy hair, and they got their flannels. He hated everybody I'd listen to. Movies, me and my dad did not agree. If there was a war movie on, my dad loved it. I didn't get it. My dad like, we'd have a fun. Come and watch a movie. Come watch a movie. Just get down here and watch a movie. This is a good movie. It's 1942 and what happened. Look. And I would be bored to tears. If I put on a horror movie, my dad would immediately like, this is a stupid. How many times you need to see the guy in the fucking hockey mask killing people? That's why you're cuckoo. He used to say that. He used to say all the time, you are cuckoo. There's something wrong with you. He would tell other people right away. I would not let your child hang out with him. He's a little nutty in the head. He would say that to me all the time. He would pass by me. I would be doing some, what he would call asshole shit, or, I'd be like, throwing my brother out a window or a mattress out the window for no apparent reason. And when I was a kid, I used to throw things out the window and think it was funny. I don't know why I thought it was funny. My mom would be downstairs, and I would just start throwing my shoes out the window, my socks out the window, anything I could find out the window. And she would come upstairs and be like, stop throwing things out the window. And I'd be like, I didn't throw anything out the window. And she'd be like, you did. You're throwing things out the window. The window's open. Don't throw things out the window. And I would just start throwing things out the window again. He would just come up right away and be like, stop throwing shit at the fucking window. Don't throw shit at the fucking window. What's fucking wrong with you? He had no guide to parenting or whatever. But what I'll say about my dad is, if you fucked with me, my dad would be on my side immediately. My dad would rip me a new one. Like say, believe it or not, I was in a lot of trouble in school. I know. I mean, you think I'm an honor student. I know. But I had a lot of behavioral problems. And a lot of the times, he would want to save face. So if say the principal called him, which was all the time, he'd go over there and be like, what did he do now? Oh, what? He pushed the kid down the stairs. So what? Why was the other kid on the stairs if he was? You should have known better than to trust him. But he would automatically stick up for me. But when we got home, you're fucking grounded. You embarrass me all the time. I have to go home to this school. I work a job. And then he would always just lose his shit with me. And so he would do it later. And I'll never forget, there were a couple things my dad even knew, and I'll leave it out at this, that even I wouldn't do. There was a neighbor who hated me, and maybe rightfully so, who just made my life a living hell, didn't like me. And again, I might have done a few things to him. I don't remember anymore. But at a certain point, I had stopped interacting with this neighbor, and he just didn't like me. We shared a common space. It was a courtyard building. And I had a friend who was black, and my friend and me would come in there and sit on my porch. He had a hard on for me this day for whatever reason. He was staring at me. He was on the porch across from me. I'll never forget it. Staring. I bring my friend in to sit down on the porch, my porch, by the way, with me. And, as weird and crazy as my dad could be about certain things, I'm sitting there, and this guy, this neighbor, I remember he looked at me. He walked over, and he said, he needs to go. And I'm like, who the fuck are you? I did say that. And he's like, first of all, watch your mouth. I'm not watching fucking shit. I was like 13 or something like that. I was this mouthy fuck. And he goes, well, we don't, and I'll never forget what he said. He looked at my friend and he goes, we don't want any black bandits here. And I was just, even me couldn't comprehend that. I was like, he did not fucking just say this. He's not behind the wheel of a car or anything. My friend is there. I saw my friend get deflated. My dad happened to be at the door. And this is why, my dad was the best. My dad had been friends with this guy. My dad came flying out the door and said, why are you on my motherfucking porch? I had to get back the fuck up. He backed him up and he's like, now what did my son do? He's like, well, he brought this black kid to sit in there. He goes, sir, the fuck what? I'm going to tell you one time, okay? Not two, not three, like I have to tell him one time. And I'll never forget, he looked at me and goes, you say one more fucking thing, I'm going to punch you in your fucking mouth. One more thing. And the guy was a big white guy. And I'll never forget the look on his face. It was like, and he pussied away, and it was like a little victory. I was so fucking excited. But yeah, I mean, I loved my dad. Like I said, my dad, he didn't get me. Like, I would tell my dad some shit I thought was interesting. Like, oh my God, in this one new Stephen King book, he's like, this is the problem with you. You're academically, you're not stupid. You're not retarded like we thought. You're smart, but you do stupid shit, but you're smart, yes. He couldn't understand how I could read like Stephen King at age 8, I read my first Stephen King book, and I had to beg and plead for that one. And he just didn't get it. He's like, I don't know why. Go to college. Do something else. What's wrong? But no, you want to go use this shit to make a trouble. Something wrong with you. Him and my brother got along much better. And my brother not got along, but they had more in common. Like my brother liked to tinker with shit and fix things, and I was like, where's the manual? I give up. I'm going outside now. I'm fucking done with this shit. My dad loved fixing shit. My dad loved fixing the car. My dad he would look for shit to fix. Like, is something broken in your room? No, everything's fine. I think I can fix it. I build you a new room. I have wood. I want to use it. Let me in. But yeah, I do miss him. I miss my mom just as much. And so I want to clear all that up. I don't even know if this makes any sense or if she didn't put it out there, but yes, he died a little while ago. So it wasn't like just yesterday or anything. I wouldn't be on YouTube or whatever. Like, well, maybe I would. I don't know. I told somebody we buried him in the backyard. Somebody actually asked me in one of the comments, like, did you have a funeral? I'm like, no. I'm like, I'm keeping the body so I can get a check every Yeah, it smells. I put some like Neosporin and some shit on it, put some Febreze that ass, and it's all good. I'm still going to hell, but yeah. So I hope I cleared it up. I'm sorry if I confused any of you, and I don't know what the fuck to do.